The clay liquor jug is a product with an illicit past. In 19th century America, this distinctive stoneware jug was used to contain backwoods brew, moonshine whiskey, that was produced under the cover of night to avoid scrutiny from American authorities so it could be sold tax-free. Today, they still uncork the little brown jug to serve up old-time corn whiskey. Replicas like this one add an authentic touch to the traditional brew. The jugs start with raw clay, dug out of the ground and crushed into little particles. They also break up defective and damaged pottery and recycle it into the process, so nothing is wasted. Next, a shaft with protruding knives mixes the clay with water and fortifying chemicals. When the clay reaches a doughy consistency, a vacuum sucks out the air pockets. And then machinery forces it through a die to form a long log. In log form, the clay is easier to handle. The potter pulls off some chunks of clay and shapes them into patties. He presses the patties into molds of the top and bottom parts of the clay liquor jug. He inserts each mold in a holding ring and spins it. A wooden tool now sculpts the jug's top section from the inside. Clay migrates up the walls of the mold and takes its shape. The potter pokes a wooden dowel in the neck of the jug to round it out. As tools shape the lower body of the liquor jug, the potter sprays water on the rim. This makes the rim sticky, which will allow the bottom portion of the jug to adhere to the top. Still in the molds, he presses the two parts of the jug together and the moistened clay bonds. Once the clay has dried, the next craftsperson pries it from the molds and it comes out in one piece. She removes any unwanted bits and transfers the jug to the workbench. She levels the lip of the jug with a stick and spins the jug on a pottery wheel to scrape off surplus clay at the seam. She smooths down rough spots on the exterior surface with a wet sponge. At this point, the clay is still fairly supple and responds to moisture. Meanwhile, jug handles are taking shape in this tub. Steel paddles force the clay through holes in the bottom, producing ribbons of clay that will now be shaped into curved handles. The potter moistens one end of the clay ribbon and presses it to the neck of the jug. She must apply just the right amount of pressure or it will fall off. She pulls the clay ribbon into a distinctive curve and presses the other end to the side of the jug. The curvature must be similar from jug to jug, and producing a consistent shape every time takes practice. At the glazing station, an operator tests a pump which spurts glaze upwards, creating a brief fountain of glaze. With a paddle, he swishes the solution around to keep the glaze particles suspended. Then he immerses the top of the jug in the liquid to give the clay liquor jug that familiar two-toned look. He pumps glaze inside the jug, giving it a leak-proof lining that will allow it to hold liquids. The next worker stamps product information on the side of the jug using ceramic inks. Next, they prepare a different glaze. The worker dips the bottom portion of the jug in it, and it appears to completely obscure the carefully applied product information. But when the glaze dries, it will become transparent, and the stamp will be visible again. The next worker scuffs off the glaze on the base to keep the jug from sticking to the shelves in the kiln. They fire the whiskey jugs at over 1200 degrees Celsius for 8 hours. This hardens the clay and deepens the glaze. It's taken a total of 19 steps and 1 week to transform a couple of lumps of clay into a little brown jug. And it's sure to add a touch of nostalgia to cocktail hour.